Hello, everyone. My name is Jamala Thompson, and I wanted to take a few minutes to share with you tips on how to develop a routine while homeschooling and while working from home. I must admit that some days have been smooth sailing, and some days I feel like I'm trying to piece things together. And so the tips that I do share with you today will stem from the days that have been the good days in my mind, or where I have felt much more stronger in terms of following a routine in my household. I do want to keep in mind that this time has been difficult for a lot of families, and that the routine that I discussed today will look different, or may look different from yours, and then yours will look different from the next person's. Simply by virtue of the fact that there are different dynamics that are happening. Some of us have smaller children, some of us have middle school children, some of us are caring for elderly parents. And then some of us have children that are coming home, or adult children who are coming home from college, that will now have to navigate within the household and coexist within the household. And so there is a broad spectrum of areas that we will touch upon. But the foundation and the goal is to just create a routine that is going to be simple, that is going to be manageable, and that can help us help support one another. Also, creating a routine of some sort will also help us deal with navigating our new normal by reducing feelings of worry and anxiety, and also try and combat some of the disorganization that can stem from having multiple schedules to manage or to navigate. So let's get right to it. Tip number one: try and create a physical space where you can work from generally or individually. I know in my household, the dining room table is it. We have converted our dining room table to our general workspace. So my seventh grader and my second grader sit at opposite ends of the table. Sometimes one will have earbuds in, the other time maybe one will go in the middle of the table, they'll have their papers out, and they will get right to work. And so creating a space that they know that they have to go to has been helpful when they get ready to complete their tasks for the day. The other area that has been helpful in terms of creating a workspace is I have converted my kitchen cabinet and kitchen drawers into what we know as a command center, or an area where works and school supplies will be. So for example, my kitchen cabinet, I have put in papers, I have put in erasers and other school supplies, so that when it's time to get the work done, my family can just come and access it. I also created a drawer, which some of us have junk drawers in our kitchen, and so I've been able to put in items like pencils, glue sticks, and calculators, push pins, and also paper clips. You can create a command center at any spot in your house, but it was just easier for us to do it here. And so creating a physical space is really helpful in terms of implementing a routine. Everyone knows the one spot to go to, and it is makes life a little bit easier. Tip number two: it is really important to have a space where a physical schedule can be seen by everyone. Here's an example of a schedule that I created, and it includes the time that you want the tasks to start, labeling the specific tasks that you want executed, and also the time frame in which you want that to happen. So if you can see here, for example, at a certain time, snack and break happens. in the middle of the work morning. I also put that should happen only 20 minutes. So I would implement putting a timer next to the daily schedule so that when the next task is up, everyone is aware and they can move on to executing the next set of tasks. So it was really helpful. I did mine on a whiteboard. But you may not have a whiteboard. You can just take a large piece of paper, stick it on your refrigerator, or put it in the actual workspace where everyone will be able to access it and see it. In terms of building a daily schedule, that brings me into our next tip number 3. I took the time to create this daily schedule. It lasted about 2 days. Because we came together as a family to discuss what was working with the schedule. My 7th grader had a lot of work to complete, but the work that she completed, it did not have to take all day. She wanted to complete all of her work within a shorter period of time and be done for the rest of the day. My 2nd grader, on the other hand, needed longer breaks during the day. And so having the work spread out works for him. And so it's important in terms of tip number 3 is that when you're creating a schedule, create a schedule with your family members' input. Not only will they take ownership of the schedule, but they will also have a higher success rate in terms of execution. Tip number 4, try and make your schedule or your routine within your family manageable and keeping it simple. A lot of times, we come together when things have gotten really overwhelming, and it is a daunting task to think about all of the things that you have to do in terms of managing multiple schedules. And so we create a schedule that is advantageous and has a lot into it. And so what happens is we end up not executing the schedule or the routine in the way that we would like to, because there's so much information and it is very complex and very fancy. And so if you can keep it simple, if you can have your family members reevaluate and look and discuss what's working, then you can find a higher success rate. So again, tip number 4, just making it manageable and keeping your routine simple. And then finally, it's really important to try and come together to develop a spiritual routine, whether it's taking 5 minutes before the day starts to read a scripture, to come together for prayer, or to come together to just support one another is really important. You can do that at the beginning of the day, or you can do it at the close of the day. I do know one scripture that has been helpful for me in helping to manage a routine and develop a routine is knowing that God is my helper and He is on my side. And so I reflect upon the scripture in Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, and I'd like to share it with you. It says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So I hope this was helpful, and I just want to encourage you to continue to stay together, to develop a routine that is going to help reduce some of the worry and angst that we're all experiencing together. Thank you so much. Be well and be safe, and grace and peace.